Welcome back, everyone. We're Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news, the daily fail, the meme review, software releases, hardware releases, and the Plebsite. Joining us today, return guest, fellow Bitcoiner, meme lord for the meme tards. That's right, the meme tards. And he's also the meme lord for Simply Bitcoin. I'm talking about Weinicus is joining us. Weinicus, what's up?
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Stuff. All right, we're diving into the numbers. Let's do it.
Number time! Brought to you by Nodl. They make some of the best Bitcoin nodes, like the Nodl Dojo. It's in red. That means it's faster. Run your own version of Bitcoin Core and the Lightning Network, all in the comfort of your own home. Remember, guys, if you don't run your own Bitcoin node, you're using someone else's, and that's a big no-no for privacy. So get yourself a Nodl today.
At the time of this recording, the block height is 735,196. The Bitcoin price 35,960. Chain rewrite days 730. Total public Lightning capacity 3,725.21. Moscow time 2781. Blocks to the halving 104,804. And the Samurai Whirlpool unspent capacity. Samurai Whirlpool is a coin join or collaborative spend. It is not a mixing service. And the unspent capacity in that pool is 4,582.54 BTC. Nico, the numbers. And wait, do we got to go take a look at what our SAT converter is?
Someone asked, they want the $10,000 metric. So $10,000 sats. So 10,000 sats. What is that in US dollars?
Guess what? 10,000 sats is like almost 10 cents cheaper than it was yesterday. It costs $3.59 for 10,000 satoshis, Nico.
That is very, very cheap. Anyways, Phil, check this out. Mr. Hodl took an amazing screenshot of this post, and I thought it was amazing. It was by John Seth. It's a legendary post. I remember when I read this at the time when it came out. Or maybe it actually came out a couple of years. I don't know. But I read this when it came out from the source, and I thought it was fascinating. I saw this pop up on my Twitter today. Thought it was really cool. I think you guys would appreciate it. Let me read it, and then we'll talk about it. Let's check it out. It's always been toxic. Toxic MU. You know that. Blockchains are war. Toxicity is layer 1. Layer 2 is libertarians. They provide the payment channels wherein the toxicity can be used. Layer 3 are the users, like prostitutes and drug dealers. They are served by Layer 1 and 2, but know nothing about the politics or the poison of Layer 1. They just know that they could pay for their ads on back pages. Layer 4 is Blith Masters and Factum, who provide an impenetrable regulatory shield that is doing its best to build broad regulation for SQL databases. They're promoting magical thinking about how blockchains could do anything. This sends regulators in all directions, trying to make sure that blockchains don't become sentient. Layer 5 is Ethereum and Dogecoin, which lets noobs practice blockchaining without pooping on Bitcoin. Layer 6 is Roger Ver, who runs about screaming that there are hordes of hobbits at the gates of Moria wanting to get in to the cave filled with trolls. He is providing shield for Layer 5, which is actually where the hobbits enter, and it is absent of trolls. Rather, Layer 5 is filled with farts. These farts are the fuel of speculative inflows into Bitcoin. This synergism is called Byzantine fault tolerance. Every blockchain needs all 6 of these elements to function. This is how we know that Ethereum isn't a blockchain. It is Layer 5, not Layer 1. Toxicity is not its fundamental layer. They are running on compassion. They will need to be replaced as the Layer 5 infrastructure as soon as they begin using Proof of Stake. Perhaps Ethereum Classic will become Layer 5. In any case, Layer 5 is a drop-in. Dude, legendary post. So much signal there if you could make sense of it. I thought it was hilarious and explained everything so freaking well, in my humble opinion. Phil, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, wow, John Seth, right? And for the people who don't know, it was him and Krista Rose that did Bitcoin Uncensored. Probably the most toxic show. I was fortunate enough to watch a few of these episodes, and I forget there is somebody who has all of them. It may be Tone Vase. Anyways, somebody has them saved. Okay, but the point is that this is exactly he summed it up, and it's very funny that he talks about the MySQL databases, right? Because at the end of the day, this is what the blockchain industry and everything around it, this is what the VCs, they need you not to think about, okay? They need you to think that there is a very important use case behind slowing down your data for no apparent reason and having it spread all around their network instead of your own. But it makes no sense whatsoever, okay? And if you've actually worked in a large corporation, if you understand the amount of regulation that there is between transferring data between large entities, you know that it's complete nonsense and it's bullshit. And they know it's bullshit too, which is exactly why the marketing is so strong, which is exactly why they need you to believe that the token that they're selling you is necessary for the technology that they claim it's using. But it's all smoke and mirrors, and he's absolutely right. Layer 5 is farts. and that's Ethereum.
Layer 5 is farts. Anyways, our in-house Simply Bitcoin meme maker, Simply Bitcoin meme maker, memologist, Winekus. What are your thoughts on this? Good afternoon, by the way. You sovereign son of a bitch.
The base layer is Bitcoin. That's all I know. So layer 1, Bitcoin. That's all that matters. Layer 5, what was it? Farts. Layer 69, memes. Layer 420, Simply Bitcoin. Like, there's just going to be a lot of layers, but layer 1, Bitcoin.
That's some signal right there.
Layer of value.
The base layer of value. So Wine's developed because the first time he came on the show, he just spoke in memes. Now it's signal and memes. It's meme and signal. It's meme signal. It's awesome. Yeah.
Stick to the program.
Are we getting Winekus Think Boy edition on Simply Bitcoin?
Dude, he's evolved. He's evolved.
There's Think Boy hidden in every little meme.
Yeah, it's true. Dude, Yellow is very fucking smart, right? These memers, they're smart, but they just communicate in memes. They don't use words. Just saying, bro. And farts. Anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily Fail. Brought to you by Swan. Check them out. SwanBitcoin.com. It's the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with an automated Bitcoin savings plan and instant purchases. It is a Bitcoin stacking app by fellow plebs. And they're going to have an app soon. Anyways, the link is down below. All right, we've got some pretty good stuff. It's 3 different fails, unrelated fails. Well, I mean, they're related because they're all fails, right? But yeah, let's dive into it. Let's dive into it right here. We've got a tweet from @LawrenceLeopard, and yep, of course, tagged by ICOsanaut, of course. Here we go. Okay, need a Bitcoiner with Photoshop skills to set the British Museum straight. Their last step is an NFT mined on Ethereum. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, in 10 years, it is Bitcoin. All right, let's zoom in on this thing, and let's take a look at it here. Okay, so look, this is the money at the British Museum, and again, right, never forget, most of the institutions that we show are always ignoring Bitcoin's existence, right? Whenever we show papers by, when the IMF, obviously the IMF dumps on Bitcoin, but when you're talking about these other institutions like Consensus presenting CBDCs or Ripple, like whenever they talk about Bitcoin, they shit on it. But otherwise, whenever there's a paper presented about it, it's never mentioned that it's already providing the services that these companies provide. Now, the reason why I'm explaining this is that you can see here from the history of money, nowhere is Bitcoin listed. And the last step all the way over here on the right is the British Museum's first NFT. That is pathetic and scary.
Is it though? I don't think it, dude. I just think they're not incentivized to understand. No. Man. It makes them irrelevant.
Totally.
And dude, it disintermediates the state. That's what Bitcoin does. And dude, they're not incentivized to understand that. In fact, dude, you see the meltdown of people. We're going to talk about this later, but you see the cope the coping by some politicians, some institutions, and they just can't stand it. The fact that they are no longer needed, the fact that Bitcoin provides a better solution than central banking, right? Than state money, and they just can't handle that. And that is a great representation of that. That literally represents how they're feeling right now. But it should really be a lot of signal, the fact that they showed an Ethereum NFT, and that really shows you that the state is okay with that because they can control it. Anyways, Wine, what are your thoughts on this, my friend?
I mean, I don't know how anyone can look at that and not laugh. Like, the fact that they just completely ignore Bitcoin is laughable. And yeah, I mean, if the British Museum is funded by the state, then it just shows their incompetence, right? They can't do anything right. And I don't know, they're shilling their NFT. So obviously somebody has an incentive to sell something. Like, It's just obvious, but you learn these things once you're following the signs long enough.
It's true. It's true. Weinicus, was that a meme?
Not everything's a meme, or is it?
Oh. All right, Phil. What is the next fail, my friend?
All right, well, on a similar note, right? Speaking about NFTs, here we go. Coinbase's NFT marketplace gains fewer than 150 users in first day open to the public. So, you know what? At first, I was looking through this and I'm like, you know what? Who cares, right? At the end of the day, Coinbase has been shilling shitcoins and educating people on how to get fleeced for so many years. You know what? It's good. It's good to see that something humbling like this happens. But anyways, let's dive into this because that's not the signal. The signal isn't really that they got no adoption. Just listen here. The marketplace, which opened its beta up to the public yesterday, saw fewer than 150 new users make a trade on the platform. Make a trade. I like that. Anyways, this tweet is funny. So Coinbase NFT is live for everyone. No one seems to care. Indeed. The market for NFTs ballooned more than $20 billion in 2021 and is on pace to far exceed that figure by the end of 2022. Now, here's the signal of this article. OpenSea is far and away the biggest NFT trading platform in the market, generating billions of dollars worth of trading volume every month. So, collectibles and art, like, you know, that's not, this isn't a trading platform. Like, nobody just sits there and constantly trades art back and forth necessarily, right? There are auctions and auctioneers and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, people purchase art and they collect it. And then in some cases, they loan it to museums to be displayed. But in this case, you can see what this is the truth behind NFTs. None of this stuff matters because all they care about are these freaking trading fees. That was the signal right there. It's the trading volume. Anyways, this stuff is going to blow up so epically, and I'm sorry, but it is going to totally wreck these people that think that they're actually hanging on to quote unquote investments. Anyways, your thoughts before we dive into the big part of this fail.
Dude, just another fucking disaster from Coinbase, man. It's like the signal there is the fact that they're focusing on everything else but helping the Bitcoin revolution. That is the signal right there. They're not helping the peaceful revolution. They're selling the shitcoins, and that's what they're incentivized to do. Remember, Coinbase made a big bet, and this is what Swan didn't do, right? Swan's making the bet that you can build a big company without shitcoins, and what Coinbase did was they made a bet that you can't build a big company without shitcoins. And I think that Coinbase got it catastrophically wrong, and I think that Corey and Swan got it absolutely right, and I think that time is just going to show that. So, yeah, shame on Brian Armstrong. Anyways, Weinicus, what are your thoughts on this, my friend?
Wait, was that just the meme review or not? I can't tell because that was pretty funny.
It could have been the meme review.
It could be the meme review. That was a meme, basically. This whole show is a meme.
Pretty much.
Sure. But I cannot wait for Coinbase to go out of business. It will happen. Everyone make sure to delete your Coinbase accounts and take your coin off Coinbase if you still have it. There's other solutions, Swan or non-KYC, whatever it is. Just don't use Coinbase. It will give your information to the government. But with NFT stuff, I'm just so tired of this crap. Like, the people that are actually buying it don't actually think there's a use case for it. It's all speculation. And these grifters are just in the middle trying to get fees. So, like, go F yourself, Coinbase. That's it.
Amen, brother. Very well said. Anyways, Phil, what is the next fail? What is the big kahuna today?
Get ready. This is thanks to you, Nico, by the way. So shout out to you for putting this in our chat. That's right. Okay, we are going to dive into this one. This is a post from the World Economic Forum. Okay, unifying cryptocurrency ESG efforts. Key to boost global adoption. This is some pretty sick stuff, and we're going to dive into it. And this actually ties back to part of the fail that we were talking about yesterday, but we couldn't put it in because it was way too long. But essentially, the World Economic Forum and its ties to the shitcoining world and the VCs just keep getting clearer and clearer. And don't get me wrong, but I think it's hilarious that they actually put this out there for everyone to see. Anyways, let's dive into this. Let's dive into this little article here. A new accelerator dedicated to shaping the future of shitcoin-enabled environmental, social, and governance efforts aims to bring key players and industry leaders together, shape a more inclusive future. Just keep in the back of your mind, we remind everybody almost every episode, Bitcoin is the most inclusive network. Why? Because anybody can join or leave it whenever they choose. That is true inclusion. When the person chooses, it is their personal responsibility and their personal freedom. Okay? Anyways, these are systems of exclusion. That's exactly what it is. I mean, we live through it right now. We see how many people are unbanked around the world, and anyways, let's continue on this terrible article. Here we go. The accelerator aims to make progress on ESG targets by generating projects, learning, and leadership focused on advancing shitcoin-enabled efforts worldwide. Okay, I have to say that when I read this the first time, generating projects, to me, this means... So I worked with somebody that once upon a time used to explain to me what we used to do at my personal corporate job. It was called working work, where you essentially have processes to do processes so that you can fulfill processes. And this is exactly what generating projects is. It means right now we've got zero use case, but we're going to make some stuff up, and then we're going to build an administrative body around it, and everyone's going to follow it. Anyways, it's just nonsense. Let's continue. To support the global efforts to accelerate the development and responsible use of cryptocurrency, the World Economic Forum is, in collaboration with CoinDesk, announced today the Crypto Impact and Sustainability Accelerator, or CISA. And boom, we've got the acronym, we've got this big name, there's an organization, it's an administrative body, and you are going to pay attention. CISA is designed to harmonize, enhance, and advance shitcoin-enabled ESG efforts across the globe. It aims to bring together a vibrant ecosystem around a uniform set of ESG goals through projects across 3 pillars that advance learning and enable leadership focused on diverse geographies. These include a digital ethnography of crypto-enabled financial inclusion efforts, the development of a toolkit on decentralized autonomous organizations, and the management of a workshop series focused on the intersection of shitcoins and net zero efforts. Okay. What did I just say?
I don't know.
Nobody knows. But I'll tell you this, right? Like I have no shame. I have no idea what they meant by ethnography. Okay, so I'm sorry. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go look that. I'm gonna go look that up. So here we go. Ethnography is research.
You sounded so smart.
Let's try to give people at least some frame of reference for the garbage words I just said. Okay, ethnography is a research method used to learn about the lives of others. It helps us understand how and why people behave differently in various societies and cultures. They're gathering data on us. What a shock. Ethnographic research is the process of collecting data about a group of people. It's a popular technique used by anthropologists, sociologists, and others who study human behavior. Okay. Now we understood that, we can continue back to the word salad. Let's go. Sheila Warren, head of blockchain at the World Economic Forum. There is an opportunity to shape an inclusive and sustainable future to ensure we maximize the benefits and minimize the risks ahead. This project aims to bring together leaders to accomplish just this. Let's take a look at those leaders. The accelerator will bring together private companies, government representatives, academics, international organizations, experts, NGOs in, and this is one of the key words here, multi-stakeholder projects. You know who likes stakeholder projects, right? Klaus Schwab loves the stakeholder projects. To further the global ESG agenda with actionable measures, right? Because Bitcoin right now isn't eating the fiat financial system alive without a body or organization, right? We need to have these actionable measures. Community members include, oh, this is the best, Andreessen Horowitz, Cello, and Andreessen Horowitz is A16Z, by the way. Cello, Chainalysis, Coindesk, CoinShares, Ernst & Young, Ethereum Foundation, Goldman Sachs, Grayscale Capital, Ripple, and the Stellar Development Foundation. So the other half of Ripple that didn't want to stay part of Ripple, so it became some other shitcoin that does nothing that nobody cares about. Okay. The world's environmental, social, and governance challenges defy national jurisdictions, corporate structures, and any form of centralized authority, said Michael Casey, Chief Content Officer at CoinDesk. We need decentralized information solutions that are uniformly trusted by governments, companies, investors, and the general public to inform reliable resource decisions that attack those problems. CoinDesk is thrilled to support CISA's role in gathering a global multi-stakeholder, again, stakeholder community to advance these kinds of crypto ESG solutions. Now wait.
There was a hidden lead there before you get to your now wait.
Okay,
point.
go.
It says we need decentralized information solutions that are uniformly trusted by governments, companies, investors, and the general public. The general public is last. Governments and companies are first. And government is first, companies are second. There you go. That's the fucking signal right there. Absolute insanity. I'm sorry, Phil. Go ahead.
No worries. No worries at all. Okay, so let's just go take a look, right? We are going to go take a look at one of the projects. Now, we've looked at this when Matt Odell came on the show. We looked at this garbage, Cello, right? That was mentioned as one of the cooperative, and we haven't really heard much about this, right? Unique purpose, the connectedness. You guys remember this? Cello's philosophy is grounded in the work of Charles Eisenstein's sacred economics. Sacred economics traces the history of money from ancient gift economies to modern capitalism, revealing how the money system has contributed to alienation, competition, and scarcity, destroyed community, and necessitated endless growth. Okay, today these trends have reached their extreme, but in the wake of their collapse, we may find great opportunity to transition to a more connected, ecological, and sustainable way of being. That's right. Everybody can be kumbaya.
Sounds like communism.
So, right? Doesn't it? So everybody can be kumbaya, and what they're totally negating is the fact that Bitcoin separates money and state. This is the most important thing, and this is the real proof of work, is the real innovation, and what it enables, that separation, is going to be huge for humanity. But in this case, they're trying to fool us into the same proof of stake garbage system. And here we go, right? We've shown this one before, but I just want to tie it all together. It's a post from the World Economic Forum showing a diagram by Block Geeks that illustrates proof of work as being nefarious and evil, whereas proof of stake, which Ethereum is not, but for some reason they're just going with it anyways. But on the other side, proof of stake, it's fair, it's safe, they've got bags, everything is good. Now, who is Block Geeks founded by? Dmitry Buterin, who is Vitalik's dad. So there you go. You've got all the ties with the World Economic Forum, the VCs, Ethereum, the publications. I don't even know what else to say. Anyways, Nico, thank you so much for dropping that article in there. Wow. I'm shocked that they posted this, but it just goes to show that they truly understand their audience. They know it doesn't matter. They know that people are going to read this and just buy it up and go, this sounds great. Yeah, not realizing that the answer is already out there and growing. Bitcoin.
So we actually did the opposite. We started putting the pieces together. And that article or that announcement by the World Economic Forum was the smoking gun. But that came out in January, and Phil unknowingly started putting the pieces together by himself. Like, wait a second, I think they're working together. And that is confirmation that they are working together. Ripple, the World Economic Forum, they're all with this ESG, environmental social governance. We've covered that tremendously. It's a way to control energy. Right. ESG policy has led to the crazy energy prices in Europe, right? The shutdown of nuclear energy, which is actually very clean, right? It's very safe nowadays, right? You could have made the argument back then it wasn't a safe form of energy, but it is a safe form of energy and is a very clean form of energy as well. Their solutions are wind and solar. And we know, for example, that wind and solar aren't good, efficient energy suppliers. They're not, right? They depend on factors that you can't control. And the worst part about this is that they're attacking Bitcoin, and Bitcoin mining is going to facilitate green energy, right? Because it makes solar and green energy potentially profitable where before they were not. And to add to that, right, you have these Bitcoin miners, and including ExxonMobil, huge oil and gas company, actually mining, extracting natural gas, and they flare the excess gas into the atmosphere. Now that excess gas has value, it could be turned into Bitcoin. So again, a lot of these partnerships are because Ethereum, and actually NVK touched upon this yesterday, Ethereum, Stellar, XRP, they know they can't survive without the approval of the government because they're inherently centralized. So this is them allying with, you know, these powerful institutions, and these powerful institutions are allying with them because they hope, hey, we could retain power and we'll just make the public believe that we embrace crypto. The reason that they're not embracing Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin is going to help their cause, right, is because it takes power and control away from them. So they don't want to embrace it. And look, we were very we didn't want to say that in the beginning. We felt like that was irresponsible. But after 6 months of covering this, okay, and the combined attack in Europe, in the United States, by politicians, the World Economic Forum, right? Look, there you go. They're advocating for proof of stake. What is multi-stake? It says it right there, right? So yeah, this is, you know, and guys, this is just the beginning. Wait till Bitcoin hits a $5, $6, $7 trillion market cap. These attacks are going to get more and more and more intense. Unfortunately for them, they're very good at shutting down centralized entities, but they're terrible at shutting a decentralized entity. So I don't know, but it doesn't mean they're not going to try, right? These people have everything to lose, and they know that, which is why they're getting as desperate as they are, right? Anyways, Winekiss, what are your thoughts on this?
Wait, is this the meme review?
Yeah, that was a meme. That was a good meme. That was a long meme, but that was a meme.
Seriously, like, I don't know. I just like heard you read all that stuff and had all these proposals, and my answer to that is simply just no. Like, I don't care what you have to say. Not gonna listen. Didn't read. Never selling. Like, none of that stuff. And I don't know, it's just funny how they list all the leaders. Obviously, there's no Bitcoin founders in there because we don't know who they are. And then it said decentralized information that we can trust uniformly. It's like, first of all, the whole point is that you don't need to trust it, right? So they're just contradicting themselves. And I don't know, who are the people buying this? Like, what are these people doing, drafting all these ideas together? Like, they're so annoying because they're making us go out of our way to have to disprove them every single time. Like, just chill out. Like, let us build Bitcoin and everything will take care of itself. Absolutely. I promise you the whole environment, economic problems will be solved with Bitcoin.
Yep. No, dude, it's true, man. But, you know, these central planners, they feel like they could plan better than millions, billions of people making independent decisions about their life, and they just feel like they know what's best, man. And it shows, and it, you know, and it results in tyranny every single time. Look at history, right? But They're going to do it. But anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by Citadel 21. It's the best Bitcoin culture zine. It's stories, articles, comics by actual Bitcoiners. Every volume has different artwork. This is the artwork for volume 10. This is the artwork for volume 11. This one just dropped, and they're scarce, guys. There's only 1,000 copies made per volume. So get your prints of Citadel 21 today before they run out. All right, everybody. First meme is by Alan MacLeod. If Twitter were honest about warning labels, it's not really a meme, but remember, guys, sometimes we include pictures in the meme review because they're extremely powerful. And look, this is what we've been saying about the propaganda media, right? You know, Breitbart, ABC, US, Google, HBO, MSNBC, Fox News, US oligarchy-controlled media, right? And this is why a lot of these institutions are pro-censorship, because the internet disintermediated their monopoly on information, and they're freaking out because of it, right? We now have the ability to talk amongst each other. Now, any idiot in his garage, right, or in his basement, or in the guest room could buy a microphone and a camera, and now they could broadcast to the world just like these people had. But they had a monopoly in their ability to do that for many decades, and now the internet is just kind of ruining their plans, right? The next one by Bitcoin Pleb. Money Badger 420. Someone said the faucet looks like the squirrel from Ice Age, and now I can't stop thinking about how money printing causes inflation. The Federal Reserve needs to be abolished. Phil, I don't know. Phil just got into Phil today.
No,
all right,
I thought
next
these
one.
were great.
It's by Jay Roper. Jay Roper. Me, Bitcoin, the collapse of the dollar. Absolutely hilarious. Hold on to that. Hold on to your corn. This is Kim.com. He's an advocate for Bcash. Roger Ver, I think, paid him under the table. Bitcoin was hijacked by bankers, credit card companies, whatever. And this is the power of memes. Sai replied with this. Surely you got this, Phil, already. Bitcoin. BS me. Very accurate. I love that one. All right, moving on to the next one by Daniel Prince. One does simply not walk into their first cycle and get BDBs and Lambos. It's so true, man. You get wrecked. The first cycle is definitely has a high learning curve. Anyways, last meme by Boom_Hodl. Shitcoin fundamentals. Oh man, it's so true, man. They're all marketing, but once you dig a little bit deeper, it's all bullshit. Anyways, for that, I'm going to give it a very special score of the pause break key from my keyboard. Pause break. Pause break. I don't know what the hell it does. Anyways, Phil, what would you give those memes?
Since they weren't all amazing, I am going to give it something which is completely unexpected from me. It's the Start 9 sticker sheet, and one sticker is missing.
What? What? It's not in mint?
Okay.
What? Phil's... I think I've influenced
And it's
Phil
the
a little
only
bit.
one I have.
I think I'm influencing Phil a little bit. Oh my god, he's not minting. You're misbehaving. Oh,
It's on the
man.
phone.
Oh man,
I did it, and it felt good, Nico. It felt good.
Yeah. Okay, Weinicus, what would you give those memes?
Well, I don't want to get anyone too jealous, but I got a limited edition meme tards pin.
Ooh.
And guess what? Adam Back has one. Yes, he does, because he has meme one. Shout out to
you gave me one too.
Meme tards pin. Shout out to
one
for designing these.
Oh, they're very, very good. Shout out BTC Pins. He's a friend of the show. But
is he still making them?
DM Full Metal Hodl. He might have some.
Okay. I will.
Anyways, guys, we want to know if you agree with our scores, you disagree. Let us know down in the comment section. Comment. It helps with the mysterious YouTube algorithm. And, of course, make sure to subscribe to us on alternative video platforms like Rumble.com and BitcoinTV.com. They don't censor there because it's Bitcoin TV. And, of course, make sure to join our awesome Telegram group where you could link us some awesome Bitcoin memes so we could review them on the show. There's a hangout. There's plebs in there. It's awesome. It's a party. But anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily News.
Brought to you by CryptoCloaks.com. They make some of the best Bitcoin merch, like the famous 3D printed Bitcoin art sculpture grenade. Comes in any custom color you want. These are just the Peter Schiff colors, and you know they piss them off because it has a Bitcoin logo. And The famous 3D printed Bitcoin Honey Badger comes in 3 different sizes, and you can take advantage of the promo code down below to get 5% off anything off the CryptoCloaks.com online store. All right, everybody, check this out. We actually reported this early on the week. We said this could be Signal. And again, it still could be Signal. This is El Salvador. Obviously, Nayib Bukele met with the president of Mexico today. You know for a fact in that meeting, they're going to talk about Bitcoin. Nayib Bukele is going to bring it up to him. We had rumblings from the Bitcoin conference that a Mexican senator, was going to bring up Bitcoin and put a Bitcoin bill on the president's desk.
And we have a message for our president. We're looking forward to sitting down and grabbing coffee with you to talk about this plan. Bitcoin as legal tender in Mexico now.
And we also had BJ Ditcher, who's a trucker from the Freedom Convoy in Canada, and he also said, right, he hinted that the next country to make Bitcoin legal tender potentially could be Mexico. So this could be something. This could be the beginning of something. Remember, El Salvador is a very small country. So is the Central African Republic. Mexico, believe it or not, it actually has a decent GDP globally. It's a big country. So if Bitcoin is accepted in Mexico, it will make shockwaves around the world. Anyways, the thing that I want to talk about today is Argentina's IMF bailout deal. It includes a wild clause that rips cryptocurrencies, right? Remember, we have been covering this. We've been saying that the IMF is evil. We've been saying that their intentions are not good, right? And again, Bitcoin just shines the light of truth on everything. Just how the IMF intentions are truly revealed, so are the IMFs, right? These people don't care about humanity. When El Salvador voted with almost every senator in the El Salvador legislation voted to make Bitcoin legal tender. Same thing happened in the Central African Republic, right? It was almost unanimous. Here we go, dude. Here it is, IMF trying to stop the adoption of Bitcoin, even if that means hurting billions of people around the world that could be affected by inflation. And essentially, they want to be connected with the global financial system, and with fiat currencies, that's not possible. Anyways, Argentinian senators just approved a $45 billion bailout deal with the International Monetary Fund on Thursday. Remember the case that we always make. They use those SDRs as a form of bribery. Listen, if you take these SDRs, here you go, but it comes with a lot of strings attached, right? And remember, the IMF isn't creating this money. They just make it out of nowhere. There's no cost to make this, and then they dangle it over poor countries' heads and say, listen, you do exactly what we want you to do, or you can't take this free money. So the deal, which was approved in a 56-13 vote, includes a wild provision that will force the government of President Alberto Fernandez to take a tough anti-cryptocurrency stance. The clause was included in a letter of intent signed by Economy Minister Martín Guzmán and a central bank president, Miguel Pes, on March 3rd. It detailed Argentina's efforts to discourage the use of cryptocurrencies with a view to preventing money laundering, informality, and disintermediation. Huh? So they're just saying it at this point. It's like, yeah, money laundering, but we don't want the informality or the disintermediation? Like, what the fuck is that? So again, they're just protecting themselves. To further safeguard financial stability, I would say that the IMF is a bigger threat to financial stability than Bitcoin. Anyways, Argentina saw its annual inflation rate rise to a whopping 52% in February, and banks including JP Morgan Chase are forecasting consumer prices will increase more than 60% in 2022 as global commodity inflation hits home. Okay, so again, Argentina is a great example of a country that needs Bitcoin the most. 52% inflation. You need Bitcoin. You don't have a choice, and the IMF wants to make sure that you can't get it. Anyways, a profound monetary and inflationary stress that would derail Argentina's economic recovery and have consequences on poverty. While many Argentinian senators applauded the move to secure financing, some have decried the economic strings attached, right, which is what we've always talked about. The IMF deal will not only require a tough stance on cryptocurrencies, but will also force a reduction in government deficits. I got it! An increase in interest rates and significant cuts to energy subsidies. Argentina's rising inflation rate has only caused the country to seek financing from the IMF. It's also led to a surge in users for crypto firms, meaning people are using Bitcoin and shitcoins to escape inflation. And the IMF can't have that in the nation as consumers look to protect their paychecks. Doesn't matter. The IMF can't have that. Two of the top crypto exchanges in the country, Lemon Cash and Ripio, boast millions of active users and have recently expanded their offerings of crypto credit cards that offer cash back in Bitcoin. So, again, we've been saying this, and over time, Bitcoin continues to use its unintended feature, right? It shines a light of truth. It exposes incentives. The IMF is getting so desperate that I suspect any SDRs that they hand to desperate countries is going to have, but hey, we'll give you this money, but you have to be anti-crypto, right? So again, the IMF is an enemy of Bitcoin. They're an enemy of humanity. They're trying to slow down the inevitable because I don't think this is going to work long term. Again, incentives are a lot stronger than coercion, and Bitcoin's incentives are a whole lot stronger than SDRs. The IMF has been around for a long time with their SDRs. Their SDRs haven't helped countries as much as they say they do. So then you have to start asking questions. What is the point of these freaking SDRs, right? In my opinion, it's because they want control over the world. They want a global government. And through SDRs, they achieve that in some light, right? And Bitcoin is a direct threat to that because it allows governments, nation states, people to opt out of their global plans for the world, right? So yeah, it's absolutely, it's scary, man. But like I've been saying the last 6 months, it's just going to continue to accelerate. More of these attacks are coming. They're going to come from the IMF. They're going to come from the World Economic Forum. They're going to come from politicians. Remember, Bitcoin is a threat to their power and control and allows people to opt out of their system completely, and they can't handle it. Anyways, Phil, what are your thoughts on this?
So the CCP banned Bitcoin mining, right? So we have that aspect of it. At the same time, we have the IMF that has come out in support of CBDCs. We saw Consensus draw up a paper for the IMF for CBDCs. Okay, and now we see this with Argentina. So look, the attack is on proof of work. The attack is on the separation of money and state. If the IMF wasn't worried about Bitcoin, why did they put that clause in there? Of every single thing, right? That is specific, right? Listen, we're going to give you $45 billion. We're going to help you hang yourself with this rope in a different fashion. But we need to make sure that you can't unravel yourself out of this mess we're going to tie you into. We need to make sure that you stay. So that's what it's about, right? It's what you said. It's the control. We need to make sure that you stay. Now, it's interesting that they mentioned disintermediation, right? Because, look, disintermediation, the only thing that's being disintermediated is, with Bitcoin, is their power to control with the money. That's it. So if the governments worked for the people, which they're supposed to, in theory, right? The governments are supposed to work for us. Wouldn't they be figuring out how to pivot to a Bitcoin supportive system? But they don't. Instead, what they do is they constantly waste their time trying to entrench, and I'm talking about the IMF, attempting to entrench us further and further into this fiat system that obviously they don't want us out of, because it's like you said, it's about control. So, yep. And look, they're losing it. They are absolutely losing it. And they were able to bribe. Don't get me wrong. It's really, I have to say, I'm kind of disappointed by the numbers from Argentina. Was it 56-13 or something like that? I mean, look, that is a whole lot of bribery. That tells you that there is a lot of people that just don't understand their own money. Forget about money in general. They just don't get it. And the incentives as they see it line up with the state having this control, but they don't understand it. And as you'll see, as more countries come on board with Bitcoin, these countries are going to sit there. They're going to be looking at those IMF bags, and they're going to be like, I don't want this. No, I may have screwed up.
You're absolutely right, man. But again, like we've always said, it's going to be a hell of a fight. These people are just not going to go gently into that good night, and this is just another example of that. Take Bitcoin into self-custody, especially if you're in Argentina. The writing is on the wall. Remember, if enough people opt out, if enough people take self-custody, no matter what the IMF does, we win, right? So, yeah. Anyways, Winekiss, what are your thoughts on these central planners trying to central plan Bitcoin into oblivion?
I mean, I think Phil nailed it on the head. This looks like bribery in broad daylight. Like, hey, you want some money? Here. And who's the one benefiting? The politicians. Is that $45 billion going to solve their inflation problems? I highly doubt it. We can check back in a few years or whatever it is. Like, that won't fix one thing. And of course, 50% inflation, like Bitcoin looks like a stable coin compared to whatever Argentina is going through. And they've been going through this for a long, long time. People there are rushing to dollars. The banks over there are controlling people on how much dollars they can actually convert. And I mean, they're just holding themselves hostage. And of course, the politicians obviously do not care about its people. They're going to be benefiting in the short term. Like, they're just looking at their own bags. So it's pretty sad to see. And obviously, yeah, I mean, these people are evil.
They're evil. And if this is not a good, like, a good advertisement for Bitcoin, right? The fact that this, you know, this internet currency that came out of nowhere 12 years ago, and you have so much fear from this decades-old institution, tells you the power of Bitcoin. And what we've been saying over these couple months, it absolutely terrifies these people that are in positions of power that have been using monetary policy to control their populace. It's scary. And these politicians, the more and more time we do this, Phil, the more I realize a lot of these people would rather have stay in power than allow their economies, allow their countries to prosper. And those are the exact opposite people that should be in power in the first place. So
it's exactly what NVK said yesterday. We need these politicians to have the right bags.
Yeah.
Like, like this is the thing. And that's the thing about Bitcoin, as we've said, right? When somebody starts getting into Bitcoin, they start to learn the qualities of Bitcoin. They start to understand why these shitcoins are shitcoins. I mean, we saw, right? Senator Warren Davidson, he right there, there's Bitcoin and there's shitcoin. So they get it. And once they get it, they're like, wait a second. All of this is a freaking scam. Look at Senator Cynthia Lummis. You know, look, it speaks for itself. So we need them to have the right bags.
It's these boomers, man. The boomers are
It's the boomers, dude. It's the fucking boomers, bro. The boomer. Naim Bukele is a Gen Xer, bro. That guy's young as hell, right? And then it kind of explains, like, oh, no wonder he's trying to give this a go. I think everyone is sick and tired of the bullshit, of the boomer bullshit, bro. It's crazy.
Nico, we were the first generation. For real, and I always say we're the forgotten generation because nobody gives a shit about us as Gen Xers, but we were the first generation to see, hey, wait a second, we're having way less than our parents and we're working way more. So yes, he gets it. Like immediately, it's not difficult, and there's a lot more Gen Xers in Bitcoin than we think. They're just silent.
Dude,
but we know you're out there.
No, you're absolutely right. You guys were definitely a little bit poorer than your parents. My generation, Winekiss' generation, my sister's generation, the Zoomer generation, we are Russian serfs. If it wasn't for Bitcoin, we would be Russian serfs. Remember, they want you, they tell you, they want you to own nothing and be happy. So BlackRock and Vanguard could own everything. Bitcoin is literally a wrench in their plans. Literally, that's what it is. And that's why they're going after it so hard. Start connecting the dots, right? Why do you think the World Economic Forum hates it so bad? Why do you think the IMF hates it so bad? Why do you think all these institutions hate it so bad? Because it allows our generations, it allows people that got completely effed by the legacy financial system to take their energy, their time, their wealth out of their system and into your hands and become a sovereign individual, and they can't have that, which is why they're reacting the way they do. We will win this, but you got to take self-custody. Anyways, Phil, there was an open source software release today, or a website by Plebe, He's making the website by Plebe Face. Phil's Canadian, so he doesn't tell me when he's upset or when I do something wrong. So I've learned to read his facial expressions, even though I tell him, Phil, tell me what's going on. So now I just read his face instead. Anyways, Phil, there was a website by Plebe. Why don't you show everybody?
Plebsites. Brought to you by CipherSafe. Check them out. CipherSafe.io. It is the best place to store your Bitcoin seed. Store it in the Cypher Wheel or the all-new Cypher Grid. They both come with a tamper-resistant wire, but the Grid also comes with a punch tool. All right, shout out to Darthcoin for sending me this. This is BitcoinExactForecast.com. Definitely one of the most sophisticated charts I have ever seen. Okay, I know that we're going to have a lot of TNA experts that are going to dive into this. Here we go, 1 BTC equals 1 BTC. This is a fantastic website that you want to share with noobs. How much is 1 Bitcoin now compared to 2009? If you invested and bought 1 Bitcoin in 2009, you would have exactly 1 Bitcoin today. And believe it or not, this site is not a parody, okay? It's a fantastic site for noobs that explains the intricacies of inflation, the reason why you're losing purchasing, why we are losing purchasing power. Anyways, check it out. The link is down below. And don't forget to check us out on our audio-only platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. If you want to stream us sats, check us out on fountain.fm. You could stream us sats with Breeze.
Meow. All right, guys, that was our show. If you enjoyed the show, you know what to know. Wait a second. We can't go. I have to give a very special shout out to our clothing sponsor, RepresentLTD.com. They make some awesome hoodies. They have some Bitcoin merch now too. And you can take advantage of the promo code down below to get 10% off anything off the RepresentLTD.com store. I also want to give a very special shout out to our awesome guest, Weinicus. He is the soundboard engineer and co-host of Bitcoin Kindergarten. He's the meme dealer for Simply Bitcoin. He makes awesome memes. Definitely go follow him, Weinicus. Anyways, guys, that was our show. If you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Smash that like button. Of course, if you want to continue hearing the Bitcoin news from the pleb perspective and the catastrophic fails, definitely consider subscribing to Simply Bitcoin. We'll see you on the next one, guys.
All the dots are connected. We can see the enemies clearly. Opt out. It's time for Bitcoin.
Boom.